Welcome back. Joining us virtually is our financial expert, Nick Sapienza. Nick, good afternoon.
Hey, Taylor. Good to be back.
It's good to have you. So today's topic, we're talking about student loans. Should people really focus more on paying those loans off first or investing?
It's a great question. So not to bury the lead, the answer is always it depends. There's a lot of blanket generic advice out there, and we feel really comfortable with those heuristics, right? To have kind of an all or none mentality, solve the problem, move on, and not stress out about it. But there's a lot of value left on the table oftentimes. So when I'm working with a client that is young, that is just beginning their career, or is still into their 30s and carrying that student loan debt with them, it's really important to do a deep dive into that. So obviously, first off, I've broken it down into a few steps. First, make sure that you tap all of your resources that are available to you, right? So spend the time. It's really worth it. This is really obvious. It's not earth-shattering for anyone. Many have done it, but just make sure that you have done your research, that you've checked out options for assistance or forgiveness. This year you can delay your payments a bit. You can Google these things or use studentaid.gov. The second is to, of course, refinance if you haven't done so already, get a lower interest rate, try to consolidate that debt any way you can. There are a number of creative ways to do this. You can check out something like Credible.com, which I worked with a client to go to Credible to refinance their student loans, drop their interest rate significantly. And here's the other thing. With the savings that they made, they were still comfortable. So this is obviously going to be really different, especially this year for people with their level of income, but they were really comfortable. So they were able to take the savings from the refinance and just direct that towards investing for the future. So the kind of the back end of that is just sticking to the numbers, creating a plan that is comfortable for you, getting really specific to what works well for you, that aligns well with your values. Have a spreadsheet, for example, with a schedule for the loan and the amortization of that debt. And then on the other side, on the other column, just creating sort of a spreadsheet scenario for the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years to see the potential outcome if you started investing now versus starting investing at a later date. Because many people will delay, and that can be the right mindset if you have high interest debt and you're paying more on your debt, but that debt's going to go away at some point. And retirement is probably not. So you need to be planning ahead. The thing that most young people have on their side is an enormous amount of time. And that leads me to my last and final point, is that timing the market is a fool's errand. So I think that if I spoke to 5 people right now that were asking me this question, 4 of them would not take my advice. They would want to time the market because there's a lot of enthusiasm, markets are high, they're normally this way. So this time might be a little more extreme than others, but you shouldn't be basing a 30-year decision on today's market movement. So time in the market matters most. That's going to be the biggest promoter of your success. So that's what I would say, is take advantage of it and do both.
Yeah, well, Nick, you broke it down wonderfully. If you at home want to rewatch everything that Nick just mentioned, don't worry. This interview is going to be on our website, klaf.com. Before we go to break, though, let's send it on over to Adam.